Welcome to Forgotten Liberty Radio, the voice of liberty in the Central Valley. I am Matthew, joined as always by the team here in studio. How's everybody doing?
Doing great, Matthew. Thanks.
Good,
How about you
thank
guys? How
Good.
you doing?
Great.
Hey, John.
John's over there being quiet.
Did
everybody have a good New Year? We haven't recorded episodes.
Well, I don't know if I had a good New Year because New Year just started.
Well,
New Year.
I will
The
tell you.
beginning of the
I
New
will
Year.
tell you December 31st if my
Okay.
New Year was good or
I'm
not.
gonna hold you to that. We're gonna ask you. We're gonna ask
Okay.
you.
Set a reminder in your phone.
so then it's going to
I'm-
be the
I'm-
old year by that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, December
New-
31st is still the New Year. So if we ask him on the 31st,
I'm
It's
so
still the New Year.
confused.
Right?
if it rolls
Right.
over
He
to the
asked me-
first,
He asked
Okay.
me
The old
how
man.
my New Year was.
Yep.
Okay.
yep.
So he's going to ask you on December
on
31st.
December 31st how my New Year was.
Yep.
Then I will have an absolute honest answer for him
It has to
on
be
how that newest 365
Yep.
days were.
Okay.
366.
Is it a leap year?
It is a leap year.
It is a leap year.
It is a leap year.
That's why I keep seeing 366.
Yes.
I was going,
man.
why
Yep.
are...
You know, that's about
Hello.
See, it has to do with the rotation of the Earth and stuff,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
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 Well, because it's 365 and a quarter days, so then you just add one day every 4 years.
They do.
It's
It's like daylight savings time for the year. or
No,
something.
see,
Right.
that's some.
Well,
who came up with that? That's some abstract, off the wall, pot smoking baloney.
Well,
right
but
there.
the thing is-
were they on some heavy peyote or something when they did this? Who came up? Was this the Aztecs, the Incans, the Mayans? Who did this? Seriously, you cannot get a quarter of a day.
no.
The sun only comes up and sets one time. We don't as human beings or animals or fish or birds or reptiles recognize a quarter of a day.
No.
you're gonna have to read about that. I
I'm
think
not
that's
reading
true.
about
no,
nothing.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I will look that up. I'll have the
true.
answer by next week or
That is
the
true.
following
No,
week.
I've just crushed the idea of leap year.
Okay.
He just
So-
wants to get rid of
so
leap
it's
year
gone.
across the board.
You know,
It's gone.
it's like daylight savings time.
That's right.
If we
Yeah.
move the clock, we don't save no damn time.
No, we
There's still
don't.
only 24 hours
That's
in the
right.
day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? So why do you get me up early or make me sleep in? Okay?
Yep.
Why do you make me late the other half of the year? Because for some was Benjamin Franklin's responsible for
gonna-
that.
he
You know,
is-
this is ridiculous. Okay, I'm all for. Hey, we have the technology to plow at night, to do
Yeah.
all these things
Oh, yeah,
at
yeah,
night.
yeah.
There's no reason for
No.
daylight
Yeah.
savings time.
Do we need a new initiative for that?
Why are we manipulating? We just need to slap people silly because some of these things are so archaic. They're not even
Absolutely.
necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here advocating for the total annihilation of daylight savings time, standard time. We just need to know what time it is, okay? Right now, it's 8:43 p.m. and I can go out and do whatever I want to do. We can light this place up like daytime.
I
We
have
the
advocated
technology.
a single time zone for the entire U.S., but that's a whole.
No, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
I think
so
the
much
entire
easier.
No, I think the entire world needs to be on the same clock. An atomic clock right at the Greenwich Mean
Yeah.
Time. Everybody use Greenwich Mean Time. Okay?
Yeah.
The military does it. The military has what they call Zulu time
Yeah.
or zero time, and everything goes off of that, right?
Yeah.
So why can't we as civilians have a zero time based on the dateline?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Be
John.
easy.
No, you're not. You see, it's getting too complicated for you. I can see it.
I'm tired. I've just I have a
See,
shorter
but if
attention
it's-
span
but
than
if
you.
it's 8:43 here,
Okay.
it should be 8:43 in Britain, right? And
Yeah.
and everybody works
Well,
from.
it kind of is, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh, come on. That's all. Okay, but my point is,
Uh-huh.
that way, whether it's daylight or dark, they're working in India at the same time we're working here. And if I need to order something on Amazon from the guy in India,
So who's going to work at night? Who's going to work during the day?
Well, it would change for everybody through the season, right?
So see, if you had
still have three 8-hour shifts.
Yeah. If you had somebody, so scaling it back slightly, if you have a shop on the East Coast that opens at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 9 a.m. What time is 9 a.m. here?
6.
It's 6. Right. So we already had to do the mental calculation, right? Why do you have to do the mental calculation? If they open at 9 and it's the same time zone, yes, our sun is going to be different here on the West Coast, but I didn't have to do the mental calculation.
Okay.
The shop opens at 9, which means that we're 3 hours behind, so I can call them, or they're not open, or they are open, or it would eliminate a whole class.
I see.
Of
Or
problems.
wait, depending on what time of year it is.
Yeah,
It's
screw
either
up my
the
dog.
same time here and the same time in Arizona, or an hour difference. What's going on? I just want to order race car parts.
You're right.
Oh, you guys.
Well, we do have a show to get to. You want to tell us about our topic?
No, I want to talk about leap
You
year.
want to talk about...
We don't need to recognize that. Is it an Olympic year at least? Do I get summer or winter this year? What do I get?
That I don't know.
it's in
actually.
Japan. I know that.
It is in Japan. I
Tokyo.
So I think it's.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
is
it's
it
winter.
Hiroshima or Nagasaki?
I think it's winter.
Because current events and bombs going off and
I
stuff.
think it's in Tokyo.
I don't want to
2020
seem
summer.
insensitive and
Is it summer?
It's summer in Tokyo.
Woohoo! Mount Fuji.
July 24th through August 9th.
Now, are they going to swim in the channel, or are they actually building a pool for this? I mean, that would...
I don't know.
I'm sure
That'd be
there's a
interesting.
pool.
Or are we building it because, we still have a military presence there?
Oh, don't get me started. I've been watching.
Oh, yeah. All
I've been
right. So
watching
we're
the
going
Addams
to
Family.
talk about the happenings at the California District 10 House of Representatives candidate forum last night.
Okay.
But before we
Of
do
which?
that, you like that? You like that intro?
What do you
Yes,
mean
before
we
that,
do that?
I want to tell you about our sponsor.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we get started, I want to tell you about a new sponsor. It's Howard Training Center's 26th annual Crab Fest fundraiser. It's taking place on February 7th and February 8th. That's next year, February 7th and February 8th. Tickets are $50. It starts at 5:30 both nights. It takes place at Whitmer Hall, 1428 Stoneham Road, Modesto, California. These will all be in the description of the podcast below. Make sure you check it out. For more information and to purchase your tickets, you can call 209-593-5621 or go to howardtrainingcenter.com. That's 209-593-5621 or howardtrainingcenter.com. Thank you so much to Howard Training Center for sponsoring our show.
I learned last night that the Republican Party in this county is no different than the Democrat Party in this county. They're milquetoast. Okay? They ask softball questions. Okay?
Yep.
And quite frankly, everyone applauding at the answers given by the candidates last night has no idea. Our Republicans do not even know how our system is supposed to work.
Well, I was one.
That's what I learned last night.
Yeah.
I learned the Republican Party needs to get its act together. And
I wish.
And if that's what the Central Committee thinks is a Republican candidate debate to lob Democrat questions at these people,
Pretty.
there's no wonder
Pretty
we
much
don't
so.
have the turnout, and we're not electing the people that will do what is outlined in the Constitution. Because even our party in this county does not understand how things are intended to work.
Well, you had a conversation with someone last night about that very thing, didn't you? Is that what you were talking to I think he was a Bob Elliott person. That you went right up there. I don't know what you were talking.
I was trying to talk to Mr. Colonel. Let's
Uh-huh.
not be disrespectful.
Right.
Guy's always going to be a colonel.
True.
Colonel Bob Elliott
Mm-hmm.
about reapportionment.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got, sidetracked or chose to be I view it as disrespectful.
To you, yes.
Conversation with the man. Pain with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll address that when I got it. But I felt very disrespected that, okay, I waited until after the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You had plenty of time to discuss things with the people. We're having a rally out on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bug you in the beginning. I let you fraternize with people. And then I even waited till the very end. We were the last ones out of there when I was trying to speak with him and his campaign team. But when I'm trying to discuss federal issues with you, and you walk away to, shake hands and kiss babies, so to speak,
mm-hmm.
That's very disrespectful, number one.
I think so.
He wouldn't have got away with that with a superior officer in the Army.
Oh, no.
And I think there's a little chip on his shoulder better
than
now. To be quite honest with you, that's my feeling is that, at that point in time I was beneath him, and then at the very end after I stood around to talk to him,
mm-hmm.
And then he still started to walk away. They knew I was standing there, and one of the guys says, "Oh, did you need something?" This was the campaign manager, and I said, "Oh, it's okay. He just said he was going to talk to me," and then blew me off. Okay, so then we had a nice little conversation there when I let them know that I do host this podcast
mm-hmm.
and would like to give him the opportunity to come on and speak to our listeners, in the district. Well, then it's a totally different deal. It's a totally different deal.
When there's an opportunity.
No. When I may be able to help you get your voice out.
Opportunity.
I'm listened to, right? But if I want to talk to you about serious federal issues like reapportionment of the House,
mm-hmm.
You can't fathom what I'm saying. And you're just going to go campaign.
Yeah. Not in the repertoire.
First of all, what did we learn last night?
Well, I learned that at least one person is at least a little bit more electable than the others too. That's what I learned. How about you, Aaron? What'd you learn last night?
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
And I was pretty unimpressed with the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but that comes down to
who ran the
being
forum.
Very unimpressed with the
I was not unimpressed with the candidates, but I was unimpressed with the way the thing was run, so I will put the blame
more like the blame goes on the Central Committee.
Right, exactly.
That's
where
the county Central Committee.
Yeah.
That's where it is, yeah.
Well, let's be honest, the candidates can only answer the questions they're given. And when you're posing softball questions and you don't cover federal issues until the end, okay, and I know who you think is more electable than the other two,
right?
But I have to tell you, and I'm critical of Ted on Facebook, and Ted knows that. Ted sees that.
Mm-hmm.
Ted knows who I am. Ted and I made eye contact quite a few times last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he was necessarily looking for reaction out of me or to see how I would be happy about what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to be quite honest.
Affirmation.
All right. But I sit at this table, and even hearing Ted speak for, almost 2 years now
mm-hmm.
as a candidate for District 10, I'm still not sold on Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But everybody at this table knows it takes a lot more to sell me than it does to sell all of you.
Yes.
Okay. And I truly believe that I'm not the only one in the district. Well, I might be the most vocal on Facebook, and I might be the most vocal in public about we need to be discussing these federal issues. Okay. I'm not ready to make a decision yet. I need to see more out of Ted.
Yeah.
Ted knows what I need to see out of Ted. And like we discussed last night before the thing kicked off, I know why Ted is doing what he's doing. Because there is a very, very ignorant base.
Yes.
In this district.
Yes.
Okay. The electorate in this district does not know whatsoever how our system is intended to function.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They just don't. They think you send these guys to Congress in Washington, D.C., and they're supposed to help you with housing, with forestry, with agriculture, with environmental protection issues, with all these things. And none of these issues are enumerated to authority or responsibility for them. Okay? On a federal
level, you're saying, right?
Right.
These are state issues.
State issues never delegated to a House of Representatives member in Congress. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Never delegated to the Senate.
Here's
but
where
people don't understand.
You're right. Most people don't understand, but here's where I am with those state issues. Although they are not responsible for handling those things. They do have should have the ability to pressure or to influence state legislatures on that. They don't. Why wouldn't they have that ability? Why wouldn't a federal go ahead. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Because and I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay.
You've been educated to believe this.
Okay.
Okay. And let me say, and I tried to tell, I didn't speak to Ted last night because I know there's an open communication anytime I want it with Ted.
Right.
Okay.
One of the few.
Ted, right. Absolutely.
Okay.
He is by far the most approachable.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm not trying to slam him any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
When I say I haven't made my mind up because I haven't seen enough, it's because I'm looking for one of these people.
Right.
And I have to be honest.
I appreciate your honesty. I really do.
With all the questions that were answered last night, I would right now caution Ted that Marla is his fiercest competition with me.
Okay.
Because she's the only one at that Republican debate last night, whether you call it a candidate forum or whatever, that said, we need to get the government out of healthcare.
Okay.
I want the government out of healthcare. The costs have skyrocketed since the Affordable Care Act.
Good.
The woman said that, and no one in that room but me picked up on it.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
Okay, because I'm looking for the federal issue.
Right.
Okay. Now, she has 3 kids and a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in my situation where this insurance isn't worth what we're paying for it. And it absolutely has increased since the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
And that absolutely is not a delegated responsibility of the federal government. Now, she didn't say she doesn't want California to have a Medi-Cal program. She's running for federal office, and she said she wants the U.S. government or the government.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all have to assume that she's speaking federally out of health care.
Okay.
Was the only one.
She was the only one.
Okay. What's disappointing even with Marla, okay, and I will give her and Bob some leeway on the reapportionment deal because I just brought it up to both of them last night.
Right.
I've brought it up to Ted a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Why a man that says he would carry that bill to the floor of the House for me would not say, with me standing there making eye contact with him during his top 3 issues, reapportionment of the House, a stronger voice for the people. That should be a priority, but it's not his priority. What did we hear their priorities were last night?
The most popular things with the people, the things that would get the loudest applause, I think.
Right, with all 3 of them, of course. Okay. One of Marla's top priorities was to get government out of healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay? All three of them want to do something for the DACA kids. Okay? Ted and I personally have spoken, have philosophical differences on doing something, period. Ted has me sold on doing something for those 800,000 because Obama screwed up. When Ted says those that got in line, we need to honor that commitment to, okay? As a man of honor and integrity, I say, okay, Ted and I can see eye to eye on that 800,000 people.
Right.
Because of that integrity, and I like that out of Ted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like doing something for DACA anyways, because if my father robbed a bank and stashed the money in my house, my family doesn't get to keep the money and benefit from him robbing the bank.
True. Right.
They take the money back. I don't benefit from the crime of my father. No. And neither should these kids, through no fault of their own, was used quite a bit last night. Quite a bit.
That is such a
when you're 18 years old,
difficult issue.
You know you're not here legally.
Right.
You knew at 12 years old you weren't here legally.
Right.
And I don't have to tell our listeners where I stand on that because they know. At 18 years old, you were responsible to get in line. You went home and saw Grandma Christmas and New Year's, I bet.
I bet they did. Oh, yep.
If you didn't, well, you can go visit her now and get back in line. We heard a lot about a guest worker program.
We already have that. That bugged me. Don't we already have a guest worker program?
We got all kind of programs.
That bothered me.
But we got
that bothered. I did hear that one.
But we got a hotel right down the road here.
Yep.
With homeless people in it.
Not yet, but there will be.
That don't have no jobs.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, our representatives should be saying, as long as there's a citizen that doesn't have a job, there should be no immigrant come here on a work visa. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll go. I will agree with you on that.
The three of them all agree that immigration is a federal issue and the state is violating the law. Ted posed the question last night, what do we do with Gavin Newsom? Should the Fed come in here and arrest him? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He should be in Fort Leavenworth.
Yes, he should be.
For crimes against the United States Constitution, and the other 120 in there that voted yes in favor of sanctuary should be in federal prison as well.
Yep.
Because they're harboring, aiding, and abetting fugitives of the law. Mm-hmm. And once again, if my father robbed that bank...
If he didn't really do that,
right,
if.
I'm saying if my father robbed that bank that we hypothetically spoke of earlier, and I'm hiding him out in my damn basement.
Right.
Okay. Or if I'm governor or senator or assembly person from California and I'm harboring these people in my state. And we know the Secret Service is a federal branch of the government, enforces these bank robberies. It's not that's Treasury, that's not FBI. Treasury comes in via Secret Service agents, takes my father to prison, takes me to prison, probably Fort Leavenworth, for crimes against the United States government. Absolutely. I want those three to have some testicular fortitude. I want my Central Committee. How long have you been a Republican? Since I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Registered Republican. Just like the other three. Look at me. I'm equal to you. That's what I want out of my Central Committee. But here's the attendee. The majority of the attendees in the room are in the same place, and we got off subject, got onto all this other stuff. Why do you think the way you do? is because since 1880s, 1890s, 1900s, and especially since 1911 to 1930, okay, but it actually started in the 1880s, shortly after the Civil War, lack of education on constitutional principles.
Yeah.
Okay, and from that point, 1880 to 1910, they had everybody dumbed so far down that they could give us the reach around, make us feel good with what they're doing for us over here. Okay, but around that time, where were the young men going? 1910, 1911, 12, 13, 14. Why? World War I. Now we're over screwing off in someone else's conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Who made money off of that? The same people that ramrodded the education change in the 1880s and all the progressive principles that came after.
True.
Okay? The detrimental change to our constitutional system. Direct taxation of the people instead of apportioned taxation. Okay? Totally just disregarded the enumeration for a census count. Okay? 1911. What else happened in 1911 that took place in 1913 that none of the three of these wanting to be my representative brought up last night? Reapportionment was put on the back burner.
Okay.
We stopped reapportioning or adding seats to the House.
Right. That's, yes.
1911. Why? Rockefeller, Carnegie. Huh? We need to go on?
No.
Vanderbilt. Who is the Federal Reserve? It's not the United States government. J.P. Morgan was loaning the federal government money to function.
Right.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. These things happen, and these men pressured the Senate and the House to change the laws, to amend the Constitution to benefit a progressive system. We are to the point in this nation where the progressive or the Democrat, okay, and I don't like turning the show into a partisan deal.
No.
But I've already said I am not happy with the Republican Party in this county. What they did last night was bull. And we should have had Josh Harder up there talking too, because it would have been four people in lockstep. If I'm going to go to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to make decisions based on unenumerated illegal powers that we have seized from our states. We heard about USMCA, okay, and how great it was that Nancy Pelosi pushed that through at the last minute so they could talk about it in their districts. And we heard 3 candidates for District 10 support USMCA. This is one of the big things that they all three leave me behind with. Okay? In the USMCA, it mandates that we, as partners in this agreement, subject ourselves to the Montreal Protocols or the Montreal Pact, something along these lines. What that says is we won't use certain chemicals certain ways, or we won't package certain ways, this or that. So basically it says we have to follow that foreign law. Okay? And then it also says that there will be a court of 5 people, two U.S. citizens, 2 Canadian citizens, and a Mexican citizen, that will determine enforcement of this agreement. First of all, Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, cannot subjugate the American citizen to foreign law. Okay? Second of all, You can't subjugate us to foreign courts with no due process. These are things that the USMCA does. And every Republican candidate in this district for federal office supports the passage of that. Now, the House passed this. So is it a treaty? Or is it simple legislation because it's going through as a floor vote in the House and a floor vote in the Senate and then a signature with the president? It's simple legislation. And we know any legislation not in lockstep with the Constitution is invalid. It has no weight. Null and void, or it's supposed to be. But every candidate there supports it.
Well,
I just wasn't impressed.
You weren't impressed at all. I know. I could tell, and I knew what was going to happen. But I missed. I'll have to just go back and hear. I went to go get water for our guys, so I missed all of the USMCA stuff. So I will have to go back and listen to that.
Well, the bottom line is, okay, you can, but basically,
I will.
Basically, here's the deal with USMCA.
Okay.
The agreements made between one or more nations and ourselves are what? Treaties.
Are what treaties?
Are what? They are treaties.
Treaties.
Okay. The way USMCA is being handled, it's being handled as simple legislation. Floor vote in the House and a floor vote in the Senate and a signature from the president. While the president has authority to negotiate treaties with other nations on behalf of the 50 sovereign nations that came together and formed one unified body of states through a constitutional contract. Okay, the Constitution has our contract or our treaty between those 50 sovereigns.
Okay.
Only the Senate and the president have to approve a treaty. The House has no
authority.
Has no authority over a treaty. Only the Senate and then the president. The president negotiates it, and the Senate either approves or rejects it. That's a treaty.
So Nancy Pelosi basically really doesn't have anything to say about it.
Nancy Pelosi has no clue what she's doing walking in general. The woman can't chew gum and dance at the same time.
No, I'm sure that her dentures would not allow her to chew gum.
So she's not drunk most of the time. She just left her teeth in her office.
Kind of, maybe. I don't really. Let's not start any rumors here. I am one of the illiterate of which you speak.
I didn't say illiterate.
Well,
illiterate means you can't read.
Oh, okay.
I said
I'm
ignorant.
the dumbed down. I'm the dumbed down.
No, I said ignorant.
Okay.
Because, and I don't even mean that you're ignorant because you're seeking the knowledge.
I am. I am seeking it.
And every time you tell people, I've heard you say, this man has taught me so much. Okay. And I don't tell you people things and not expect you to go research it. Go research it.
Right. I would.
My name's not Terry. My name's not Mark. And I don't expect you to follow me blindly. I expect you to verify what I tell you.
That's a good teacher. That's a good teacher.
Okay. I'm looking for more.
Yeah.
And I saw the people that stood up when they introduced county central committee members last night.
Yeah.
And
you have to consider the source for those particular Republicans. I'm just going to say that.
But it's people like my county board of supervisor, Jim DeMartini.
Yeah.
It's people that know better.
How about that?
Or should.
Should.
They're running our county. Jim absolutely understands because we've spoken before, okay, about the homelessness issue and about how Sacramento is dropping the ball about how Sacramento is requiring the counties to do certain things without funding. So he absolutely understands that it's a state issue. But by God, Jim DeMartini, as a Republican, is still going to take federal money for that. And he's still going to applaud a federal representative for breaking the law to get him that money.
It's just. So,
I'd like to know who came up with the questions.
I'd like to know that as well.
I would imagine the committee members, right, probably had everybody turn in a question or two and decided on a certain amount.
I'm not going to assume anything. You know what happens when we assume. But I am going to be quite clear. Every one of the Stanislaus County Republican Central Committee members has seen my responses. They're politically engaged. They've seen my questions to these candidates on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen me asking these questions. They've seen me insisting that these are state issues, not federal issues. And why? Why?
Why are they ignoring you?
They're not ignoring me.
They're not.
But they're choosing not to engage the candidates on things that are being said that with simple research will show.
So do you think this is probably a conspiracy? Do you think they just don't want to bring that up because the public would know about it?
Put a mark. They're kissing asses.
Yeah.
And I said out loud in the meeting to Angie.
You did.
I cannot abide kiss loud enough for everyone to hear it.
Mm-hmm. You said a few things.
Because let's be quite frank. Last night, they were appeasing ignoramuses.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that.
And when I say that, people, I'm not putting you down. The system has failed you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not asking questions on our email. You know, everybody knows how to get
who's
to
not
me.
asked? Oh, you. Oh,
Our
okay.
listeners.
Our email, right?
People aren't sending messages wanting to be educated.
Nope.
And I'm going to tell you right now.
Tell me, John, right now.
We used to sit in a room of about 30 to 40 people.
Did.
Every 2 weeks. And all those people know how to get a hold of me.
Hmm?
All those people know that the education's free. But I'm
Or
not
they
going to
can
make
listen
you
to
feel
podcasts.
good. If you're not understanding and you're not getting it, well, I'm going to tell you you don't understand and you don't get it. And our Central Committee in Stanislaus County don't understand and they don't get it.
Do they just don't? Maybe they do understand it and they don't want to.
Why do we have 3 people on that stage?
That was, I really liked that question because you asked that last night because they're wasting our time. A lot of having those 3 people on that stage is wasting.
Now we've picked Ted. What was the MC, who's obviously a Central Committee member, what was his goal? His goal is to primary Josh Harder and have 2 Republicans on the ticket only.
Right.
In this district.
Okay.
Well, I got to tell you, Stanislaus County, Republican Central Committee, you're not going to primary Josh Harder. You don't have federal candidates. You have state candidates. Josh Harder's also a state candidate. If we're going to run state candidates, Josh Harder's going to be on the ballot. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry about your damn luck. That wish ain't coming true. A lot of people stay home. A lot of Republicans stay home. The MC said, tell 10 of your friends and ask them to tell 10 of their friends. I'm telling 3 of my friends right now, don't vote for none of the 3 of them. And don't vote for Josh either. I said last night, I might check a box for none of the above.
I probably won't do that, but
Well, and that's your prerogative. And I told Bob Elliott last night, I have not made up my mind. I told Marla, living good, I ain't made up my mind. I'll probably be the one guy in the booth scratching my head going, which one of these people can I stomach? After all, it's just a primary. And I know exactly what it's going to come down to. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to come down to Ted House because he hasn't stopped campaigning. And I told you and Aaron this last night, did I not? The man has not stopped campaigning.
that's not.
Josh Harder has not stopped campaigning. Regardless of what little Josh Harder understands about his job, he never turns anyone away.
Oh,
He is 100% of the time with these open office hours campaigning. That's what that is. He don't give two craps what we think, what we want worked on. He's making himself accessible, unlike Denham did, unlike Cardoza did, unlike Condit did. You want to continue down the list? I go back to Gary Condit. Okay? And I told you where Cardoza came from after Condit got booted. He worked for Condit. Okay?
yes.
Gary Condit was in this district seat until he gave it up. He didn't know he was giving it up, but when his values changed, his support changed. And he knew it. Cardoza was well enough known from working in that office that Cardoza got the nod. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This district is about a 10-year cycle with name recognition.
So you said last night.
Well, my opinion doesn't change from night to night.
Well, no, I was confused to what you meant, but you're just saying it's a cyclical thing,
Right.
cyclical.
Well, and Dennis Cardoza was there until he decided to give it up. He retired.
Right.
He wasn't primaried. He wasn't voted out. He decided to retire. And then we got Jeff Dunham, who was a state representative. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Name recognition in the district. He was a state representative here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, he wasn't a Democrat like Condit and Cardoza, but Gary Condit wasn't necessarily a Democrat either. That's where we got the Blue Dog Democrats, right?
There's Pombo in there.
Pombo was a separate district. See, so what the district is now,
because the district's changed.
has been
Okay.
the lines have been redrawn.
I get
so we
it.
have some of that Pombo district and some of the original district here
Okay.
that encompassed Modesto, Ceres, Turlock, right? So, well, anyways, this
Sorry.
750,000 people in this area. Denham screwed up because he wanted to give the DACA people a pathway to citizenship, and we all know that. Because it was Denham or Harder. The inclusion of Tracy and northern,
Yes.
parts of San Joaquin County didn't give Harder the nod. It's still a pretty evenly split conservative, liberal area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like I've told everybody, it is a purple district. It's you could have a Condon, a Cardoza, a Denham. Okay. Where Denham lost his base is with the DACA deal. Okay. And my fear is the Central Committee and all the people in this room last night, yay, yeah, give them a pathway. We have to do something because it's been driven into our psyche for the better part of 5 years, 6 years. These through no fault of their own. Obama said it. Pelosi says it. Schumer says it. Everyone says it. The tagline is through no fault of their own. Well, if my father robbed that bank, that wasn't my fault either, but I do not get the benefit from it.
That is an excellent
you know why I'm so
visual.
passionate about this DACA thing?
Tell me.
Because I have sisters. I have a sister from one of my mother's marriages. That's my sister. We grew up together.
Right.
Okay. Step, whatever. That's whatever society puts on it.
Mm-hmm.
That woman is my sister.
Yes.
We grew up together. And we still value each other as family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's married to a Hispanic man. My nieces and nephews are of Hispanic descent.
Mm-hmm.
And they are disproportionately set aside because this group of people is coming in their age bracket and their generation through no fault of their own. Are my nieces and nephews competing for work with these people that are breaking the law? And when men like Ted House sit there and say we need to do something, while I can, out of honor and integrity, back him on the 800,000, everyone else goes home. Or they sit in a jail cell for violating the Constitution because it absolutely is affecting the earning power that my nieces and nephews have.
I see. Yeah. I can see why you're so passionate now, though.
And not children that were born to a man that married a citizen. These are children that were born to a citizen and a citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And well, neither of the three of these kids are my blood relatives. They are my niece and nephew. And they are being disproportionately screwed by this government because of their heritage and because of their age. And we're not supposed to discriminate based on age, national origin, sexual preference, anything. But we are definitely discriminating against our Hispanic citizens in that 18 to 30-year-old range because of no fault of their own.
Wow.
Those parents knew what they were doing when they brought those kids here to compete with my family members, and it's wrong.
I agree.
And regardless what Marla says or what Ted says or what Bob says, they're justifying the head slap that my relatives are getting, that citizens are getting because of their age and their ancestry.
So this is a huge problem. And it's what are we going to do about it, John?
It is huge. And it's huge in this and it's huge in this district.
It's huge.
Because while we have a large DACA population,
mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
While we have a large, generation of those Hispanic descent citizens, it's affecting this district more than any other. And the party candidates, the candidates from the party that's supposed to represent fairness and equality, okay? The party that did away with slavery in this nation, okay? Whether you agree with slavery or not, whether you agree with the way they did it during the Civil War or not, have taken a standpoint on this DACA deal that is absolutely enslaving our citizens.
You're stating facts there, but what are we going to do? What can we do about this? Though that's my question.
What we can do is what I tried to do last night, but I can only address one subject at a time, and my passion is representation. Okay. Representation on a federal level is reapportionment.
Mm-hmm.
representation on a state level is our petition.
And I agree, and I think it's a paramount issue.
I cannot back off a representation.
Gotcha.
If I back off federally or statewide on this representation deal, how do I appear?
You appear
that it's no longer important to me and I'm moving on to something else. It is of utmost importance to me.
It is.
And I will not back off.
Yeah.
If this isn't working now, I won't back off on continuing to build Americans Restoring Representation.
It's
okay. Because it may not happen now, but that doesn't mean it can't happen 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 6 years from now, 8 years from now. It has to happen to get anything we want.
Right.
Okay. Federally, it has to happen because it's been artificially frozen.
Mm-hmm.
We've had boots so far up our backsides for so long. They're not treading on us.
No, they're stomping on us.
No, they've stomped us out.
Okay.
And it's very apparent as to that we've been stomped out because the party that professes to be the Patriots, the Republican Party,
mm-hmm.
I don't see any difference between them and the Democrat Party at this point.
Not a lot.
The line is so blurry. If you attend at least in California, and these same people can't support our initiative because it's going to cost too much money. That's what we're hearing because the fiscal statement says it'll cost millions and millions of dollars. That people are just beside themselves on whether they can help out with this initiative to increase representation in the state because, well, we're going to hire those people. It's going to cost more money for them, more money for staff, in the millions and millions of dollars. I don't know if I spoil my YouTube video or not. $7,665,000,000 a year. $7,665,000,000 per year generated in state excise taxes just on the last gas tax bill passed by 40 in the Senate and 80 in the Assembly. Now,
Incredible.
It wasn't all 40
Incredible.
and it wasn't all 80, but it was 21 or more and 41 or more and signed by a governor. That's one bill. That one bill passed by this minuscule minuscule Assembly and minuscule Senate has cost us as consumers $7,665,000,000 a year. And people are going to argue with me about whether this is the right decision or not because it's going to cost us millions and millions of dollars to be represented.
I think that argument that you've just given it overrides everything that people are saying that this is going to cost too much.
Make it real simple to understand. It's real simple. Excise tax on gas is 47.7 cents per gallon in the state of California.
Right.
Every gallon of gas you buy is 47 cents. 48 cents just in excise tax. That's not sales tax on the gasoline. That's then excise taxed because we do pay sales tax on the gasoline in addition to the excise tax. Okay. In addition to the federal excise tax. Okay. 68 cents per gallon of diesel. 68 cents per gallon of diesel.
That's just excise tax.
Just excise tax. Let's see what Love's Travel Plaza says that I purchased in diesel. That 171 gallons of diesel I purchased today at 68 cents a gallon. About 2 million gallons of diesel are sold a day in the state of California. 2 million gallons per day. At 68 cents per gallon excise tax on diesel, we're generating $1,360,000 a day in state excise tax on that diesel fuel. Number one, we're not spending $1,360,000 a day on road improvements. And number two, that's per day. So when we talk $7 billion per year, people can't fathom how much $7 billion actually is. They can't fathom how much a trillion is. Okay?
It is hard to fathom that.
What people need to understand is that's one bill passed by the representatives in Sacramento. That single bill, not including the increase in motor vehicle registration fees.
Doesn't even include that.
Doesn't include that. Costs us $7.665 billion with the B dollars per day. And you're not able to support increasing representation or decreasing the number of people your representative represents. See, at 500,000 people, we can't change Sacramento.
No.
We can't vote these people out. Adam Gray will serve out his 12-year term limit. Anthony Cannella served out his 12-year term limit. They all serve out their 12-year term limit on name recognition. Why? Because their districts are too large and we cannot vote them out, even in times of bad behavior. You're going to come at me and argue, and I'm talking to conservatives. I'm speaking with conservatives. I'm speaking with state split movement supporters, okay? I'm speaking with the patriots, and they're telling me, I don't know if I can support that because it'll cost us too much money. How many SB1s can you pocket? Because what I hear from everybody is the gas tax is killing me. The property taxes are killing me. All these regulations are killing me. But we cannot get any of you ignorant buffoons to understand that without increasing the number of people voting on these bills, there's no way we will ever stop them, because there's no way that we can ever replace those people not doing a good job. You don't want a sanctuary state? We got to have our majorities more than 41 and more than 21.
Yeah.
You know what else I hear? I hear, how come? How come you want to do that? The majority of them will be Democrats. I guarantee you there will be more Democrats.
I've been here.
You know what I'm going to tell you?
Yeah.
We got this real nice mountain over here between Highway 680 or Interstate 680 and 4, Mount Diablo. Okay? All around that, you got Clayton, you got Concord, you got Martinez, you got all these areas, Fairfield, Vacaville, Dixon, all Sassoon, Dublin, Pleasanton, Castro Valley, all these areas in the Bay Area that are not liberal bastions. But they are, because they're in large districts. 500,000 people in this state. And not every city is San Francisco. And what we call San Francisco in LA, because of the ridiculous representation we have today, produces a Democrat for that district. We're going to make no more than 4 more districts there. Okay.
We have to
80,000, and we tell them to favor the lesser. But we understand that we're setting limits. We've set a low limit and we've set a high limit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the citizenry in the future, wants to change that limit or increase that limit, while I justify that with increase in population, with increase in membership, okay, similar to Articles of the First, okay, and I've said that, then we can come and re-amend the Constitution like we're trying to do now. We have that power in California. That's the initiative process is our constitutional convention.
True. Yes.
Okay.
Thank God we have that.
Well, some people I've also heard from don't believe in the initiative process. It turns them off. Because it's not a true republic. It's a democracy. It's more of a democracy style. Okay? If you want to make it more simpatico with the federal system, then we need to amend our Constitution to do so. That's not my battle. My battle is representation. My battle is educating all the people who cannot see the justification for the money that just the savings on SB 1 alone would pay for the additional representatives. The fact...
Multiple times.
Right. The fact that Brentwood is not, Democrat heavy. Brentwood is purple like Modesto Turlock series.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And the only reason I say purple about any of these areas are because we're a very socially liberal area. Mm-hmm. More libertarian area than we are Democrat or Republican.
Conservative, yeah.
Because the parties have left everybody behind. The Democrat Party is so far one way it's not funny. Mm-hmm. Okay, they've traversed so far one way it's not funny, and the Republicans have moved left to where they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes,
that regardless of who we associate with, you're still fiscally conservative. That's why I'm getting the feedback on the cost. Okay? This state is fiscally conservative, regardless of what the 121, including Gavin Newsom, are doing. Okay? They're spending like drunken sailors up there.
Yeah.
While the constituency is fiscally conservative. Okay? We are socially liberal. If you want to have a same-sex marriage, that's fine. Do what you want to do. But as far as recognizing that, we're not going to recognize that. We've already voted on this. Okay, we voted multiple times. It is what it is. I'm not going to go into that subject. But we're like a live and let live people. And that's why I say we're purple. But people don't realize Brentwood, Martinez, and Antioch are probably close to being an 80,000 people section of that neighborhood in the state. Okay. And I say that because I look at, city limit signs all day.
Yeah.
On my route.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And my route is either the 205-580 corridor or the 684 corridor back into Stockton. Mm-hmm. Okay. Out of the Bay Area. Depending on traffic, depends on which one I take.
Right.
Livermore's looking at like 1.5 representatives. Brentwood, Martinez, Antioch, Pittsburgh is looking at a representative of their own.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And I just have to say, while San Jose may gain, Democrats, while the city of San Francisco may stay Democrat, the surrounding communities that form new districts won't necessarily do that.
Right.
And we have to understand what we're talking about.
I think those are excellent arguments for the initiative, John. It's actually a no-brainer when you put it in the terms that you have just broken it down to.
But the bottom line is, we're not going to allow them to be elected in this initiative as Democrats or Republicans.
They will have to.
We're asking them to be elected as members of the district.
Okay, that's another issue
we
that I
say
run into,
directly
right?
in the initiative,
right?
Which, if we garner the signatures, will become the exact proposition. What everybody's asking for these men and women that represent us to be among us. And if for no other reason, if you don't like the 80,000, if you don't like the 100,000, let's discuss that. John O at, okay, that's JOHNO at ARR, the number 4 all.org. Send me an email. Let's discuss your issues.
John would definitely get back with you. Definitely.
If you have a concern about this, I have an answer for you.
Yes, you do.
We can fix whatever else you want fixed through additional initiatives in the future.
Right. But let's get this one done.
I would love nothing more to pay these people $1,200 a year to have them not show up, but when there's an actual necessity to be there.
Wow.
But I can only address one topic at a time. Unfortunately, that's how our initiative process works.
Right.
I called my state senator.
You do.
I want to discuss this with them. I haven't got a phone call back. My state senator isn't going to want to do this. But the provision in this initiative says that state senator is entitled to keep her job. That she's still allowed the term limit out, and she was just elected this last cycle. She can still run as a representative from her home district.
Yes.
Only the first time, if we're successful, do we add 130 seats to make it 250. Okay? The next cycle, we bring in the other 250.
Right. Yep.
Now at that cycle, we're going to be electing 500.
This is so worth. It's so worth the measly amount that we are going to that this initiative, this proposition, this hopefully would come into law. The measly amount that we pay for this would benefit us in so many ways.
I mean, I'm not claiming to be a genius level individual whatsoever. I am kind of vain. I know my stuff don't stink.
Yeah, you'll tell us when you're wrong, right, John?
No, I will. And if you can show me where I'm wrong, I'll say, okay,
No,
I see your point.
I'm teasing you.
And like I've already admitted, I see Ted's point.
Right.
And I understand why Ted says that.
Right.
And as far as the amount of integrity and honor that he wants to portray as an American towards those people that another American made a deal with, I'm willing to step aside and let him have that. Because absolutely, without honor, without integrity, we have nothing.
Right. That's right.
You can't have liberty and not have honor or integrity.
Nope. John, I was really just trying to tease you a little bit.
But still.
Okay. What you're saying though is so.
But if I understand that that's $7,665,000,000 in that one bill.
Incredible.
That one bill.
It's
That's
just,
what it costs us every year. On average. Every year on average.
Every year.
As fuel prices or as fuel usage increases, okay, and every year we add drivers, okay, if we're adding drivers at a greater rate than drivers are dying off, say it just stays equal. It's still $8 billion a year.
Isn't that incredible? Just, it's hard to fathom. It's really hard to fathom. Even when you break it down into that daily amount, that's incredible.
Just the daily amount on diesel's 1,360,000.
Incredible. Anyway, well,
there is an answer for all of your concerns. There is a discussion to be had. Political parties are not going to have to insist upon. We have to put enough people in place that we can hold those individuals accountable.
This would do it.
As I said at the beginning of this episode, the priority for the 3 Republican candidates in California District 10 is not making the effective power of your voice stronger. It's DACA. It's homelessness. It's guest worker program.
We are not the priority. We are. We should be the priority. We should get the representation we deserve.
Ted House got the nod from the Central Committee. He got the endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe he got the endorsement based on his desire to have a national heartbeat bill. Did come out as a scientist. As a scientist.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, he has a doctorate of science.
Mm-hmm.
Medical doctorate.
Right.
Now, it may be a doctor of veterinary sciences, but he still works on mammals. A lot of people want to steer away from this subject. The man says, in his opinion, as a doctor of medical sciences, he believes life begins with a heartbeat.
Right. At conception.
And you know what? It takes, everybody has a different viewpoint. The doctor of animal science medicine says heartbeat. If he'd say that dairy calf is alive with a heartbeat, okay, and make no mistake, the man does embryo transfers. That's a big deal in the dairy industry. Is genetically combining genetic material, super ovulating a cow, flushing those eggs out, mixing them with chosen semen, and making embryos and implanting those in donor cows. Test tube babies and surrogate mothers all day long. A good majority of Mr. House's profession. Maybe not so much as other veterinarian doctors, but something that they absolutely engage in. So the man is pseudo retired at this point, obviously, because you can't be representative and acting veterinarian per se every day in campaign.
Yeah, be difficult.
I have to allow him that opinion that's when life begins, because even though he can make this two-celled organism in a tray, he doesn't see that as viable until he can hear it or feel it upon physical manipulation, right? So as a scientist, he came out and he said he would support and that the Supreme Court has already basically told the House and Senate, you guys need to decide this. Like you guys need to decide immigration. So there were some federal things that were discussed last night. They're just very few and far between.
Well, I think it's time to call it a podcast. Put this one in the can, like they used to say.
And we didn't
in the can.
Pat's been here all night. Aaron's over here. Aaron stays quiet a lot.
We just turned on that record button and said,
Yes,
"Go,
we did.
John."
Yes, we did.
You know, Matthew's here. Go buy your crab tickets. He'll insert that.
Yep, definitely. Make sure you support the crab feed
Howard Training Center.
2
nights.
If you have any questions, you can email John directly.
No
Please
problem.
do. He would
For
be
real.
happy. He really wants you to. Please do.
John O at err4all.org. And if you have any show feedback, so like general questions, things you want us to discuss, feedback at forgottenlibertyradio.com, or you can leave us a voicemail. I think you can actually text us. I didn't realize that. You can text us, 209-214-8099. We would love to hear your questions and comments. Don't forget to subscribe to us in your podcast player of choice, iTunes, etc. Leave us a 5-star review where you can. You can also find us on all the typical social media, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, even some alternative media such as BitChute and Gab. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Forgotten Liberty Radio, and we'll catch you next episode. Radio is a production of Forgotten Liberty Media. The views expressed by the host or guests in any episodes may not necessarily reflect the views of Forgotten Liberty Media as a company.